I don't know if you are seeing my screen.
Yeah, we're seeing that one.
Okay, thank you so much, and thank you everyone for being here this moment for this presentation. This is a research paper that came about as a result of the recent COVID that we witnessed some time ago. So because of that, within the information system environment, there is a missing link between doing research and doing research more quickly, and also across computer environment, computer science and stuff like that. So that prompted out this very research paper, which we did. It is between me and Dr. Mrs. Ngozi. Both of us did this paper. So now it's all about the pros and cons of the rapid review research. Now, when you look at rapid review methodology, it allows researchers to be able to do research as quickly as possible. And this research methodology has been applied across different disciplines. But within the discipline of information system, IS and computing research and discipline, it's not really known. So that is what this study is going to look at, to see what are the benefits and disadvantages of having this methodology used in IS research. And that is what the research is all about. Now, systematic review method is rapidly gaining attention across different disciplines, including information system. Remember that systematic review research method is a secondary research method that is being used to do secondary research. You don't need to collect data, but rather you are able to do your research using existing research papers, academic papers, and stuff like that. And that is what systematic review entails, through which the findings are able to inform decision. And not just that, it also makes new research, simplifies, and then synthesize research evidence. But however, the problem with systematic review is that it takes forever. It takes some a longer time for its research findings to be produced. Now, but rapid review came about in order to provide shorter review process than systematic review. So you can see that in our discipline today as information system, we need a research that can be able to inform decision, provide solution, and then provide conclusion as quickly as possible, than to take forever to be done. So now, rapid review as a mini systematic review can produce a quick research evidence that can enable decision making, and that's what prompted the research in general. The problem there and the motivation for the study, IS and computer research provide everyday solution. And because of these very purpose, to provide everyday solution, there is a need for us to have a research that can be able to answer everyday problem. Now, in IS and computer research, it takes longer time, even years, to be conducted and completed. But because of this, there is a need for IS research and computer researcher to move into this rapid review in order to get their research produced as quickly as possible. And what is the research objective regarding this study is to determine how rapid reviews can be applied in IS and computer research and discipline at large. And also to explore the pros and cons of rapid review in IS research and computer research. Now, what is the overview of rapid research? First of all, it has been there for many years, it has been there for decades. It's not a new research methodology, but due to not realizing that the importance of it has been ignored. Now, the relevance of rapid review is a result of a systematic review to produce quicker research findings, and that is what prompted out rapid review. And however, a systematic research method takes longer time and even years to be completed. And for this purpose, the amount of time it taken to conduct and complete rapid is worrisome. Hence, ever-changing and age and information we are in now necessitated rapid review because of the discipline of information system and computer at large is a very evolving and forever changing discipline. There is a need to have a method that can be able to assist to produce research as quickly as possible. And that is very important for us to do. So there is a need for us to be for audience to extend in IS research to extend to adapt and to take rapid review into consideration in doing IS research and also practitioners, because of what we need to come up with ideas. So for example, imagine during the time of COVID, there is a need to get answers. There is a need to get research done immediately. Imagine you're taking an ordinary traditional review process. It's going to take you a longer time to get results and find solutions. But through this, you find out that solutions will be provided as quickly as possible. Now, rapid review has been have the attribute that allow IS and computer researchers to provide and produce a piece of summary information that can provide a detailed recommendations and stuff like that, because of what each nation in application. Now, what method? Remember, every research is being done with the research method and research methodology. So now, what method was used in this research? We use what is called mini review method that is being used in this research. Why? Now, when we look at a systematic approach, traditional approach of doing research, it's being done by going to collect data, doing that, blah, 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 before you come to the conclusion. But now, because this is a secondary review paper, desktop research, there is a need for us to adopt a machine, a suitable methodology that can allow it to be done. So for that to happen, we use a mini review, which is also categorized as a traditional literature review paper, but it focuses more on a specific topic and subject matter. In this case, now we're talking about rapid review, which is a subject matter in IS or in a research environment. That is why we adopted the mini review for it to be a suitable method to be used. So now, and also mini review looks into this excellent aspect of discipline. In this case, what is that discipline? What is that silent aspect, which is what doing research in IS and also doing it more quicker? And that is the silent aspect that we covered much more. How do we get over with this? And also, mini review looks into the content within 3,000 to 4,000 words. And that is what this research. When you look at the word count of this research, is between that 3,000 and 4,000 words. So the researchers adopted this to look at the pros and cons in applying rapid review in IS and computer research towards guiding a new research knowledge and getting a research gap to research gap in literature and providing a direction. Now, the role of this rapid review in IS research is this. I'm not going to read all of them. First of all, it allows individuals and organizations to make decisions in a crisis period, like we saw during the COVID. When we apply rapid review, it enables fast research, which makes decision quickly. It also, because of the changing environment that we are in, rapid review enables researchers to be able to produce quick evidence to solve everyday and that is it. And also to achieve rapid review IS and computer research, then there are different stages that we provide through this research, which is being found on table one on the main research. I believe after this, it's going to be published on conference proceeding, which we enable anyone that have an interest to look at how the stages that on how to apply rapid review in IS research, in any other research for that matter. Now, what are the pros and cons that we identify through this which we identify through this rapid review in IS research? One of them is that it address the changing disciplines needs and expectation as quickly as possible. Fast result, fast evidence, fast solution without wasting time. It provides quick answers to questions on issues affecting IS research and computer world in general. And remember that IS research and computer research solves everyday issues. So because of the quick answers to questions that are affecting society and stuff like that, that is what rapid review can do in IS and computer research. And also it provides quick answers, solutions, recommendations to make decisions, which enable decision making. For example, during the COVID, there is a whole lot of fake news, and now society is confused which one to be trusted and which one not to be trusted. But with rapid review, you can be able to conduct research to inform the society to know what they should trust and how they should trust and how they can identify fake news on COVID and stuff like that. And also it has also the backside, which can also, there is no standard process being followed. And that can also be an advantage in a way, because you don't need to follow that procedural way of doing research. Anyhow you do it, it can also be applied so that you can be able to get your research solution and answers, provide solution as quickly as possible. There's no approved guideline or rules for conducting and reporting rapid review research. That is also the backside of it. And also there is no comprehensive search in terms of now. There is a limit on how you can search your literature for you to come to your conclusion. There's no standardized and approved definition of what rapid review is all about. No experience or expert within the systematic review is required for you to do a rapid review. And then also it makes difficult to assess in terms of restricted literatures and stuff like that. And then also when we are closing that, we came up with implications of future researchers. And here are the different kinds of implications, which I'm not gonna go through. When you watch the video, you can understand online, you can understand more of them. But on the last part, a summary of this implication, there is implication for students, for researchers, academians, and for practitioners. Now, also the research method we assist professionals to understand current issues affecting in IS environment and to make decisions. In conclusion, going into the future, the application of rapid review in IS research and discipline is expected to increase from this topic, and the idea from this paper is going to allow researchers in IS and computer to adopt this method. For researchers, recommended for them to apply this in IS research to discover quick and relevant recent research findings. For scholars at large, when it's been adopted into the current and the future research to deeply discover issues that affect, that contribute quicker research findings, making conclusions, and making decisions. So in conclusion, rapid review promotes shorter process to carry out systematic review, secondary research. Also in IS research, there is a need, it needs an approach that quickly produces research findings and make recommendations for decision makers. And then also there is research provide a place for rapid review in IS research. And then going forward, IS research and computer researchers should use this in their research. Here is some of the literatures that was used. And then when you go to the main paper, everything is provided there. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Professor Chukwari. Now we have the Q&A after all have presented. Dr. Krishnan, are you ready?
I'm okay, Professor.
Yeah, can you present next?
Yeah. Professor Joshua, please unshare yourself. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll have the Q&A after all presenters have presented their papers.
So can I start, Professor?
Yeah, go ahead, Dr. Krishna.
Thank you. Okay. Friends, I mean, again, my greetings to you for joining, and I'm going to share my presentation on the paper called Scenario of Additive Manufacturing Scans for Scope. My name is Dr. Krishnan Umachandran. Okay. Going down, see, this paper is quite novel. It's because we are going to take manufacturing process converted with a digital kind of a support. If you see this manufacturing process, this is nothing but a powder metallurgy process. See, this powder metallurgy process is a physical process, and this is going to be connected with a digital kind of a support. So the physical part and the cyber part is connected. So this is a cyber physical system. This is where the emerging technology comes into position. When you have computer connected to a machine, then it is not human is not going to intervene. The computer is going to have, without any bias, it is going to do its work. So the digital part is going to handle the manufacturing process for the powder metallurgy. This is what is called as 3D manufacturing or 3D printing or additive manufacturing or compound manufacturing, whatever it is. All these manufacturing processes are nothing but an emerging technology process. These are all for helping more reflex to the market, to grab market, to have a manufacturing process with fully controlled automation and go with the changing scenario. As we go further, what happens is this part of manufacturing process is quite discrete as well as interdependent. That's called process. When you call it as a discrete means, see, when you have your own setup, you buy a 3D machine and you're having a printer. It's like a normal printer only. If you have a printer like it, then means you can automate it and you can have any kind of a design to be produced. But when you want to do it through a virtual model, like for example, you're going to connect it with a cloud, this process kind of a thing, what will happen is it will not only with design and automation, but it will also include resilience of your production processes, your input materials, your waste, reuse and recovery. Everything has to be controlled here. This is where the catch comes when you want to have an additive manufacturing linked to a cloud. See, on the scenario, scenario is like, for example, you have things like production technology, human resources, infrastructure, products, all these things. When you have such kind of a thing, it means your input, put your money into it. When you want to have money into it, it means you have invested yourself. You have an investment design. And similarly, when you have an investment design, you can also have a kind of an output expectation, like laser sintering. If you want to have laser sintering means you will have more kind of a quality-oriented product can be manufactured. Consult, perform, optimize. See, you have human beings, human resources, you can just get to the work. But when you want to get them with consult, perform, optimized, engaged styles, you can do. When you have an infrastructure, you can you own it or lease it, or lease and use it. Well, a lot of opportunities are available. Similarly, on products, it need not be only for a replacement market. It can be also for a OEM or a component. See, why replacement market, I'll tell you. See, if you have a kind of a product, and suddenly if some part of the product goes in for a failure, for example, you have a big ship, and a ship can, any component of a ship can go for a failure when it is in sea. But you can escape, you manage something and you bring the ship to a dock. And when the ship reaches dock, it cannot wait for more time. You need to get that product, that component that needs to be replaced. See, if you have even a failed component, you can take with this machine, create this new component alone, and then fix it and go. So this is a thing which this additive manufacturing gives you opportunity. It's like you have a paper printer. Anytime you can print and go. Similarly, you can print a product and go. That is what is additive manufacturing opening us to. See, for this, there are a lot of critical stages for advancements. But the basic thing for advancement is how we look into the data visualization. Every data means different for the person who is seeing and for the person who is using. So the data, how you visualize and how you digitalize for computing towards a physical and cyberspace to execute into a cognitive task and then push on for a reality. This is where the advancement happens with a critical stage. See, when coming on to the drivers, see, when you have a manufacturing part, a shop floor or a workshop you have. So it means it depends on a lot of raw materials. And as you work on the raw materials, you make sub-assemblies and then you make a product, then you cannot keep it with yourself. You have to sell it out. It means this is a distribution channel where you are going to make money out of what you have made. So when you want to make money out of what you made, that means the inventory in between should be less. See, the cost on which we are going to collaborate should be, as we buy, we should be selling. So that means a lot of collaboration is required, a lot of across boundaries we need to work, and for this, data is more important. So when you want to have a connectivity between this, that is collaboration, data application, and across boundaries, then this is the place where we are going to get the value driver for the process. So this will happen only when a cyber system is connected to a physical system. So when it comes to Industry 4.0, see, every organization is expecting to do a lot of organizational processes that can increase the output. Then they have digital twins. Digital twins means whatever you do on the computer, that changes the things on the physical part. And when you do something on the physical part, it changes on the computer. So you have a digitalized connection between these two, which is called the digital twin. And the environment is localized towards the use of the resources. So whether with a firm which is uninterested to go for an emerging technology upgradation, or you are a fully automated organization, be whatever, you can be evaluated for an impact where we can find out the virtualizations that are required for your organizations, the value chain, the disruptions, the resource efficiency, and the policy regulations that can help you in implementing Industry 4.0 to your organization. In short, additive manufacturing can be implemented in all organizations. Coming onto the landscape. See, when you are doing a production of a part or product, and you're doing it on a small number, then you can have flexibility in operation. Because only when you are committed for a long or a big bulk order, then you cannot have a flexible opportunity. You have to go strict with the regimental kind of an approach. But for this additive manufacturing, you can go with small numbers, flexible thing, and thereby you can cut the cost. You can personalize as per the market requirements, and then you can use innovations where user visualized designings can come to your things. So every component can keep on going for a change, right? Now coming on to the advantages. See, when you have advantages, what happens is, you're producing a product. And when you are producing a product, you are going to give it to the customer to use it. They are the ones who will test it and use it. But ultimately, what happens is the engagement with the society. This is where you are getting the innovation. So when you are producing, and when you are realistically giving it to a market, but finally, when you are giving it to a community, you are going to do the innovation. So 3D printing technology goes with more of innovation to its content. So it will be so useful for the future to keep on changing the product designs and feasibilities. Coming on to the fog edge, cloud fog edge computing. Cloud means it's a far away kind of a position where you have your servers, storage, database, network, softwares, applications, everything in a far away place, and then communicate through the internet to your machine. When you have everything stored on the machine, it is called edge. When you have this on a far away, it's called cloud. And when you have it on your machine, it's called edge. When you have it in between fog and cloud and fog, cloud and edge, it's called fog. Where all these things are what? To reduce the bandwidth and improve the response time. If you have more far away, then it has to go through a lot of hassles of repetitive transmissions. Whereas when it is near you, it is easy for you to control. So whatever it is, you can have software as a service, or a platform as a service, or an infrastructure as a service. These are the things which will help in additive manufacturing being customizable for the future. Then coming on to the the realistic part of how to make a photo solidification. See, for example, when you have a design, what happens is you can do it for your customized requirement, whatever in a product or in a component. But here we are using a liquid polymer. It's not a powder, as we say in powder metallurgy. We take a liquid polymer, then on a perforated basis. For example, you have in a box, a casing where you have a lot of porosity, and below the porosity you have the liquid polymer. This polymer, these polymers, now they raise up. As they raise up, what happens is they come out above the plate. This plate, above the plate, you have a laser transmission. This laser transmission keeps on giving the heat waves. As it gives the heat wave, the liquid now here in this form, it starts to change with the temperature. When the change in temperature gives you the CAD design. The CAD design is the one which gives you product. So as there is no hand involved, as there is no process of anything, it's like how you print on a paper. You have whatever on the base atop, the same thing gets printed on the paper. And instead of printing on a paper, it is getting printed on a liquid polymer. And this liquid polymer is the one which is going to give you your product. So through this, what happens is you have a lot of data which is being used for analytics. Through cloud, you can bring the control and build smart products. This is what additive manufacturing can come. For all these things, we have IoT, Internet of Things, which is nothing but sensor connected kind of information inputs for a cyber physical system to influence the market smart manufacturing using artificial intelligence and robotics. This is where additive manufacturing is leaping towards becoming a mammoth intervention, replacing all big manufacturing setups. If such kind of manufacturing setups are disrupted, then every small organization can own a printer of its choice so that they can keep it where.
Then comes the limitation. So as I said, there are a number of benefits. One among it's a greater trust, greater security, and more efficiency. Right. So greater trust in the sense with the blockchain as a member of members, only the network. So as I said before, there will be a peer-to-peer network. Only the members of the network will be interconnected to each other. So whatever the transactions or whatever the things happening in the network, it will be notable to every other member of the network. But it won't have any sensitive data visually, but it will get to know about the transaction or any information is moving towards a member to member. Okay, so you can rest assured that you are receiving the accurate and timely data, and you can have the confidentiality and the confidential blockchain records that will be shared only with network members to whom you have the specifically granted access. So only the authorized persons will be in the network. So that is the major benefit of blockchain. That is a greater trust. And second is a greater security. As we are using the consensus, I'm not going or digging deeply into a blockchain concept because I want you people to know about the basics and foundation of blockchain on this emerging technology. So I'm just giving the terms and ideology on blockchain. So the greater security in the sense we have the consensus algorithm. So there will be a proof of work or proof of stake. It depends on the technology we are using, okay, for the data accuracy, and it is required from all the network members, and it will be validated the transactions are immutable because they are recorded permanently. So no one, not even a system administrator, can delete a transaction. So that provides a greater security. Then comes the more efficiency in the sense with a distributed ledger that is shared among the members of the network. The time wasting record of reconciliations or eliminators. So and it has a speed transaction. So that is being the more efficient one, right? So as I said before, there will be a set of rules and a smart contract that can be stored on a blockchain, and it can be executed automatically. So that all comes under the benefits of a blockchain. So we have the greater trust, greater security, and more efficiency. Though we have all those benefits, we also have some limitations of blockchain technology. One, it is an early stage. Since it is an early stage, it is not aware to look and corner of all the globally researchers or globally academicians or the partakers, or whoever. So it becomes an early stage, and lack of awareness, as I said before, and the limited available technical channel, and it is an immutable one, so it can't be mutable. Okay, so that is being a benefit as well as the limitation. Okay, so no reversal or modification, so no, there will be no reverse engineering. So reverse engineering is not possible in the blockchain technology, so it is being a limitation of blockchain technology. Then the key management, so hence we are using the cryptographic concept as well as the hashing. Okay, so we are having the key management, right? So that could be a mild limitation of this blockchain technology. Then comes the scalability and time to process. So these all are some limitations of blockchain technology, but it is a manageable one. I'm using the Ethereum chain in my own environment as a public and private blockchain. So it is working out cool as we are overtaking all those limitations. Then comes the opportunities in the market. As I said before, as we get know what blockchain technology is, you will be able to know. You will be a software engineer, product manager, then analyst. So these are the market opportunity right now, and it's been a highly packed, and we are getting a number of opportunity towards working towards the blockchain as a designer, architect, or engineer. So I hope you could make this blockchain technology as your interest, and I would like to move on to the session without any delay, as we have done with everything. So hope you gained some knowledge on blockchain by this keynote session. Well, now let's start the presentation session. Kind to all my participants and partakers, a kind attention to you all. So you're supposed to deliver your research methodology and your presentation. Time should be of 6 to 7 minutes, which will be followed by 2 to 3 minutes of Q&A, that is questions and answer. Hope you all got it, and good luck everyone. To begin with, I would like to call upon, just a moment, I will take a list of it. Yeah, to begin with, I would like to call upon Mr. Frank Odinque from South Africa. They would like to give his presentation under the theme of psychosocial health and well-being, under the title of environmental change as an. Sir, it's over to you. Please present your screen and go ahead with your presentation, Mr. Frank Odinque.
Dr. Frank? Dr. Frank, can you hear us?
Sorry for the interruption. So, Dr. Peter, you can become an expert in blockchain network by digging into the course, online course certifications. There are a number of certifications out there. So you can get into that certification, and you go for live projects, and you can attend the workshop, which we are also conducting a blockchain workshop here. So you can offer those things. Thank you, Dr. Peter.
Now, if Dr. Frank is unable to hear Dr. Hema, can you move on to the next person?
Okay, sir. So the next one, I would like to call upon Mr. Amatu Chinview from Nigeria, under the theme of PHW, and the title is Evaluation of Parental Perception of Psychosocial Impacts of Child's Early and Forced Marriages in Nigeria. Mr. Amatu Chinview.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear Frank Odinque?
Oh, Frank has come. Okay, Frank, you can share and start.
Okay. My name is Dr. Frank Odumegu. Thank you, my co-presenters. My topic is on the title of my presentation is on environmental change as an instrument of political instability, a case of African countries. One introduction, I want to let us understand that climate change is an issue that's a global challenge in this 21st century. And it has been a mind-boggling issue concerning African states. And in terms of conflict, violent conflicts. And we know that most African nations are powerless in terms of climate change. The question is, what is climate? What are the factors causing climate change? Climate change is as a result of human activities and on the planet, and after a long time, it becomes a general issue that is confronting the nation in this 21st century. And it's a mind-boggling issue. And then we do understand that countries in Africa has been badly affected by climate change. This issue has caused a lot of havoc in African countries. One of the problems is change in climate, change in temperature. And the change in temperature is followed by, as a result, change in temperature causes a high temperature rise and droughts in African countries. And this drought in most African nations causes food insecurity, and which makes people to protest against the nations. That leads to a complex issue that results to violent protests in African nations. And that is one of the things that causes issues concerning climate change in Africa. Violent riot and protest has been the issue as a result of climate change. So climate change has serious impact on stability and social stability of Africa. Then the problem statement here, why did we go to this? One of the problem statements is that because the climate change has become a very serious matter regarding political instability in Africa. Therefore, it is important to analyze the effect of climate change in African political history. And secondly, there are few literatures available as to the climate change impact on African continents. And that is why this studies is on making so that to be able to add to the voice. One, African countries are really overpowered by the consequences of climate change. And because of this, it's important that we try into venturing into how to add a voice to the gap that is affecting us, because there's little literature in understanding the issue of climate change in Africa. Therefore, it is regardless of these enormous problems that we face as Africans in terms of climate change and political instabilities, they will have few literatures. And that is why we are at this gap. That it is because of this that this study is undertaken, is motivated to review most of the factors concerned. One of the aims the aim of this particular literature or this study is to point out, and to explore the environment, what environmental change means to African society on the political and security framework of Africa. That's one of the aims, is to understand what environmental change means on African political and social system. And the objective of this is to examine the impact of climate change on advancement in African human society. And secondly, to look into the actions on how to embrace and relieve political instability in Africa, and then to provide a way, a system of how to mitigate against it. That should be the objective of this. And when we know, in terms of literature issues, we have known that studies regarding African political instability is reviewed here. So many studies has been reviewed. Preliminary review has been done regarding the mitigation of political instability in Africa. And secondly, we do see that, and we need attention has been paid to the extent of this likely impact. Researchers such as D. Chattel, United Nations, and Kelly of 2015 has contributed, toward
side, and then you will do the presenting. Can you unmute yourself, Leah?
The voice is not clear.
Hello, Chair. Are you able to see my
Hello,
screen?
yeah. Hello, sir. Can you please hear me?
Hello, Chair.
Yeah,
Yes, I'm able to screen.
yeah, we can hear you.
Go ahead, Professor. Professor Punda, go ahead. Professor Punda, go ahead.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Charlie Abona. I'm going to be presenting a research article that I wrote in 2021. I was currently doing my honors degree from the University of Fort. The topic of the study is effects of remote teaching on academic performance of undergraduate students during COVID-19 pandemic in South Africa. And my supervisor was Mr. Funda. And this is the outline of my presentation. I will start with the background and then I will conclude when I'm doing my conclusion. In terms of the background of the study, we all know that higher education institutions, universities, and schools were ambushed by COVID-19. So the adverse socio-economic disruptions associated with the pandemic was felt right through the government, businesses, and organizations such as higher education institutions. The impact of COVID-19 pandemic has been extremely harsh and further reaching, particularly in higher education sectors. So the impact of the developing countries like South Africa, the impact of COVID-19 has further deteriorated. Because of this pandemic, we were then exposed to emergency remote teaching in higher education institutions in South Africa. And when we started the emergency remote learning, we discovered that the knowledge gap between students, lecturers, and institutions in terms of IT resources, in terms of how to go about navigating through this new forced way of teaching and learning. Some of the that we had have Blackboard, Google Scholar, needed by and Microsoft classes. The aim of this paper is to determine the factors influencing the academic performance of undergraduate students during the COVID-19 pandemic in South Africa. Some of the barriers of emergency remote learning are e-learning development is not every time straightforward or effective, and it varies from country to country because of their cultural, contextual, and preparedness factors. The self-assurance, information, experience, and faith from teaching staff, system integrity, internet, teaching materials, school rules, periods, and technological assistance from school level. We have contact frame examination and curriculum alignment, e-learning resources from curriculum context and encouragement, e-learning facilities and skills and knowledge from students were identified as 4 major barriers to e-learning development. And these are some of the reasons of e-learning failures. And this is according to literature. We have the readiness of ICETIS to use learning platforms, inaccessibility, and lack of technological personnel and inadequate infrastructure to support variety of activities, as well as low internet speed and connection issues during e-learning processes. We have academic activities of learning systems. And these are the factors influencing academic performance and higher education institutions in South Africa. Planning, the designing, and the implementation of online activities and content has greatly affected and influenced academic performance because some of the content was not properly planned, it was not properly designed, and also the academics were not used to the online teaching. So all of this was a new first experience, and it was the same for students. The social support was not there. Students were used to face-to-face learning, speaking with the lecturers, having consultations, and having sessions with tutors and mentors when they are studying. And now those things were non-existent. Students' computer sufficiency influences both their participation in online learning and their attitudes towards online learning. The insights and opinions of students who are online learning are critical factors in their involvement. Prior knowledge with advanced technology, technical innovations, and the system of assistance all have a significant role in improving students' engagement in online learning. In a later, I said variables that affect students' engagement in emergency remote teaching during emergence.
Hi, Leah, we are struggling with the sound. We can hear you, but there's, I don't know, the sound is not too clear. But okay, proceed.
Emma and Dean, okay, now change the slides. And these are the challenges that the issue of IT infrastructure.
The couple messages are
Excuse me, there is actually an
so we are not at
Professor Leah Bona.
Okay, hi, Prof. Perhaps I will wrap up for Yabona. I think her sound, I don't know if my sound is better, but her sound seems to be worse. Okay. On the previous screen, we saw the challenges that we encountered, that we saw through literature, that higher education institutions experienced. And some of those challenges are IT infrastructure that came out very strong when we're looking at literature and we're looking at the impact of IT on this more remote learning, which was all new for traditional universities like the ones we have in South Africa. The issue of computer skills also came across very strongly. It was a challenge that was picked up in terms of academics and even students. So the computer skills, there was a gap there. And support protocol, there was a lack of support, ICT support, ITS support, and network support. Of course, we cannot avoid the issue of inequality and inequity, as well as digital divide that exists. So those issues came across very strongly when we're looking at literature and we're looking at the remote learning within the COVID pandemic. So in terms of the conclusion, for higher education institutions, it's time for learning. It's time for them to learn. It's time for them to sit down, to restructure, to relook at their IT strategies. And some of the things they can look at is improving the ICT skills for academics as well as students. So there should be investment there. There should be further education. There should be training and development. And they should encourage the continuous use of online learning management systems. It shouldn't be by the way. It shouldn't be just for downloading of learning material, but it should be actively and continuously used. And then, of course, the issue of organizational technology readiness. So speaking about digital and digitalization and digitalization, higher education institutions must really invest now in their organizational technology readiness. They should be tactical and strategic in preparing. Yes, involving student engagement. We all know that students are using cell phones, mobile technology. We all know that they can do all sorts of things, but what about learning and teaching and learning happening in that space? So there should be a broader involvement in terms of computing, in terms of learning and e-learning, because COVID has taught us through remote, emergency remote learning that we should.
Okay, thank you very much. As I mentioned earlier, the Q&A will be after all the presentations. Professor Sandra Roman, are you ready? Professor Sandra Roman.
Yes, I'm here. Can you
Yeah.
listen to me?
Yeah, go ahead, Professor.
Okay, I want to share my screen.
Go ahead.
Okay, just a second. Wait a moment because I cannot. Just a second, please. I'm having problems with sharing my screen. It doesn't allow me.
Dr. Adam, could you allow her to share screen? Or Dr. Krishnan? Could you allow her to share screen?
Yes, it's not allowing me to share my presentation.
Just hold on for a moment.
Sandra, you can share to me and I share if you prefer.
Okay. Do I send you my presentation? This is what you are telling me?
Yeah, that's what she's telling.
Yes, maybe you can send me by email and I share. I'm Gabriel.
While waiting for Professor Sandra Roman, Professor Juanzon Emmanuel Daloy. Professor Swanzona Emanuela Daloing, are you around?
I'm here, please.
Professor. Oh, okay, so can you do the presentation? Are you ready? Professor Swanson. Okay, go ahead.
Hello? Hello?
Okay, go ahead, Professor Swanson. Professor Swanson and Professor Isaac Injaiga.
Okay, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
I'll be presenting the paper. I'll be presenting a paper on the use of internet memes in creating awareness of the COVID-19 pandemic among youths in Jos Metropolis, Plateau State, Nigeria. This paper will be presented by myself, Johnson Emanuela Dalong, and Mr. Isaac Ejiga. We're from the Department of Mass Communication, University of Jos, Plateau State, Nigeria. So first things first, I would like to give a brief introduction. Now, we all know that web, also referred to as the internet, has indeed impacted all spheres of modern society. And this has made it possible for a variety of tools, techniques, and platforms to be employed in the communication process and across multiple devices. Now, the architectural framework of the internet and also the interplay of technology has made it the most powerful instances of communication, of information and communication technology. As such, social media such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and the likes have changed how information is accessed, created, consumed, and shared globally. Now, the potential and evolving character of social media, including the multifaceted functions it serves, have also made it a subject of interest in multidisciplinary fields. Now, we all know that on the web and its web-based applications, different types of visual communications are being shared, which includes GIFs, screenshots, images, pie charts, infographics, among others. And these images are increasingly being shared among people. Now, this author here, Milosavljevic 2020, noted that visual content such as images are commonly shared online because they are the center of attraction for web users, particularly among the youth, and a significant number of quite a significant number of web users share pictures on social media because they can easily be understood. Now, these images shared it also includes memes. And memes are the alteration of pictures with symbols and phrases. And this is really common on the online ecology. Now, this alteration of images with symbols and phrases birthed a form of visual communication, which we all know or have as memes today. Now, the term meme was coined by Richard Dawkins, a British evolutionary biologist, and he conceived memes as selfish genes being in control of their own reproduction and serving their own ends. Now, memes are a form of engagement that captures the attention of its viewers and also diverts them to salient issues in our society. And as such, they offer or provide us with a mental picture of our perception and also interaction
in the society. Now, we all know that during the lockdown period, during the COVID-19 pandemic, it led to the lockdown period that was imposed by different governments in different parts of the world. And social media platforms became the convergence point for a lot of people, particularly youths, and it also became a place where information on the diseases was created, accessed, shared, and consumed. Now here is we noted that based on certain studies conducted by Ferreira and Burgess, social media rose and became one of the key sources of information for the COVID-19 pandemic, whereby most people relied on the social media to be informed about the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, down here are images shared, samples of memes that was used during the pandemic to create awareness about the disease. And this is a picture of a Nigerian actor stroke comedian that was used here to provide understanding about the COVID-19 pandemic, whereby it stated that government said 4 passengers in the car, but you would see 10 policemen in a hilux. Abi Corona no dey catch police. It's just trying to talk about the restriction on the number of people that should be found in a vehicle. Likewise, he was asking a question that why then are the policemen in a hilux? As in, why are there up to 10 policemen in a hilux van? So now this study was conducted. The researchers, because there have been several studies in Nigeria on the use of radio, television, and newspaper campaigns on COVID-19 pandemic. However, there is a dearth of literature on the use of internet memes through social media platforms in creating awareness of the pandemic. As such, the paper seeks to examine the use of internet memes in creating awareness of the COVID-19 pandemic among the youth in Jos Metropolis of Plateau State, Nigeria. Now, next is the methodology. The methodology employed for the study was the quantitative research, where the survey method was employed. And the population of the study, here we have it. And the sample chosen for the study was 384. And we arrived at that number through the use of the Survey Monkey. Also, the theoretical framework employed here was we employed the use of visual rhetorics, and the visual rhetorics is the application of knowledge that focuses on the process of translating symbols into pictures to convey a message or to convey messages to people. Now, for the visual rhetorics, there are certain features that visual rhetorics, which includes it must be accompanied by a symbol. We all know that memes are usually accompanied by symbols, which can be pictures, and then memes must involve human intervention. That's to say that memes are usually shared or distributed by humans, and this distribution is usually made to the public with the aim of communication to the audience or consumers of such memes. Then, based on our findings from the study, the data obtained from our respondents showed that there is high exposure to internet memes on social media. Next is the social media platform often used to access social media, internet memes rather, was Facebook. Then we also found out that the use of internet memes was the internet was used to access COVID-19 memes, and most of the respondents agreed that internet memes on COVID-19 helped in creating awareness about the pandemic. Also, to measure the extent of internet memes used to create awareness on the COVID-19 pandemic, most of the respondents agreed that internet memes played a great role in creating awareness on the COVID-19 pandemic. And then lastly, to concerns with the usage of memes in creating awareness for the COVID-19 pandemic, most of the respondents' concerns on memes usage in creating awareness of the pandemic was that it promotes falsehood, which ends up misleading the consumers of such products. That's internet memes. For example, here we have 2 memes here. And these memes, if you would agree with me, if you go through the meme, you would have to think of what this meme is the information is trying to pass across. So part of the concerns raised was that memes at times could be misleading. So in conclusion, based on the findings from the study, we came to a conclusion that youths often use the social media platform of Facebook to access memes, and as such, Facebook was the most popular platform used by the youths in Plateau State to access memes. Also, memes have the potential to go viral because they are viable visual tools that were used to create awareness on the COVID-19 pandemic. Also, the conclusion from the study showed that memes are prone to be misused, which can lead to falsehoods of information, and also memes were found to be misleading. And as such, this can undermine the aim of certain campaigns, which end up misleading the consumers of such memes about the COVID-19 pandemic. And our they are shareable and they are also accessible. Health bodies and governments should employ more visuals such as memes in disseminating health communication on social media due to their ability to communicate health messages in simple, attractive, and easy to understand ways. Also, the learning environment, media, health bodies, governments, and non-governmental organizations should give time to teaching and promoting visual literacy to help counter the use of memes to promote falsehood on diseases, and also to enhance their comprehension, thus leading to informed decision on health matters. And also media outfits, health organizations, governments, and their officialdom and individuals should seek consent and knowledge on how and to what extent messages aimed at being used for health campaigns could be manipulated so as not to be unethical or run afoul of the law. And finally, social media users should seek memes of the COVID-19 pandemic from experts in the health sector and or from recognized institutions like health bodies and government, as opposed to non-professionals. as opposed to non-professionals, including accessing online content on health communication from these bodies to be better informed about the disease, as well as to make informed decisions too. So thank you so much for listening.
Okay, thank you very much. As I mentioned earlier, the Q&A will be after all presentations. Thank you very much. Professor Roman, are you ready? Professor Roman.
Yeah, I'm here and I'm ready. I'm sorry for the problems.
Okay.
Now
There's no
I sent my paper to the moderator and to, well.
Okay, go ahead, Professor Roman.
Okay, good morning and thank you for listening. My name is Sandra Roman. I'm a professor of phonetics and phonology in La Rioja National University in Argentina, and then in north of Argentina, and I'm a research fellow at the National University of Southern Patagonia. The name of my work is The Use of Technology in Foreign Language Pronunciation Teaching at Higher Education Level. Let's go to the next slide, please. Well, the work is organized in the following way. I'm going to talk a little bit. I'm going to make an overview about the topics, then about the importance of pronunciation for the development of oral skills in foreign language teaching, the use of technology in foreign language teaching, the development of digital competencies. Then I provide you the conclusion and you can see the work. To the next slide, please. Well, in higher education institutions, we are experiencing a transformation process to fit the demands of the knowledge society and the ICT leading role in all aspects of our lives. The educational process is influenced by the ubiquity and the blurring of barriers between formal and informal learning. And specifically talking in foreign language teaching, new technologies offer several advantages that go from linguistic immersion to the use of resources for practice and self-correction. However, it is not possible to guarantee students' autonomy unless they and their professors have developed the digital competence that are required for learning. The aim of this paper is to examine the use of technology for teaching English pronunciation at the university level. The next slide, please. Well, when we talk about pronunciation, when we talk about linguistic competence, we can recognize 4 macro skills: reading, listening, writing, and for speaking. Pronunciation is one of the most important aspects, since it implies not only the proper articulation of sounds, words, and phrases, but also the production of prosodic features of fluent language to express ideas and interact with other people. Pronunciation is related to speaking properly, as well as to the listener clear understanding of the speaker words and intentionality. It is possible to say that a bad pronunciation interferes with communication, whereas good pronunciation contributes to the fluent interaction that ranges from language to, so I was saying that interferes with language and with the understanding. It is necessary to have good pronunciation. It is necessary not only to be familiar with the phonological system of the foreign language. There is a question of agreement between spelling and sounds. As you all speak English, and most of us as a foreign language, as a second language, we can notice that there are tone changes that native speakers use to convey meaning, and sometimes the question of the phonological model that is aimed at consolidating. Nowadays, the predominance of English, for example, specifically in different international contexts, has generated the necessity to reconsider the transitional pronunciation standards that took native speakers as model, to focus in a competent speaker model. The next slide, please. Okay, technology has been widely used in language teaching, but quantity doesn't mean quality. The rapid growth of ICT in the educational field creates a scenario where individuals, sorry, there's some
Universities of Lahore City's management faculty and students made up the research population. Teachers and administration receive two different sorts of questionnaires, while students receive a polling survey to complete using Google Form. The statistical study of the outcomes uses the descriptive approach. We have obtained encouraging discoveries through the evaluation of the data that highlight some of the difficulties and other offer recommendations. Statement of the problem. This research is aimed at identifying the challenges faced in online education and learning in Pakistan during COVID-19 pandemic. And the research questions are: what challenges have students and teachers faced in online education and learning during the COVID-19 pandemic in Pakistan? What recommendations can be suggested in order to overcome the challenges faced in online education and learning in Pakistan during the COVID-19 pandemic? As you can see the theoretical framework in front of you. Methodology. The research has an exploratory methodology. This strategy is being used to determine the difficulties encountered in online education and learning in Pakistan during the COVID-19 pandemics. 6 universities were chosen as a sample because they had the trait of being public institutions authorized by the same provincial government. The selection of the sample is justified by its similar environment, resilience on a similar exceptional ministry location and natural setting. The students and the faculty of the 6 institutions that were the subject of the study completed 99 questionnaires for each institution. In order to carry the reliability and validity of the data results, the researcher employed triangulation. Therefore, the researcher used questionnaires for the teachers, interviews with the management, and polling survey for the students to conduct this triangulation. As you can see, the categorization of students, teachers, and management of the focus 6 universities in front of you in the form of table 1.1. Findings based on the students. Multimedia forms of scientific method are one of the most important ways that e-learning is used. The students concur that online education and learning is beneficial, that it enhances their academic standards, and that it keeps them secure. According to the students, the main challenge to the implementation of e-learning is the poor quality of internet services. The students showed that there are drawbacks to e-learning, with the main one being that it puts more pressure on students while lessening the workload for teachers. The students concurred that time management is no doubt a success factor, but it was a big challenge during the COVID-19 pandemic. According to the students, the main obstacle to the implementation of online education and learning is the lack of training of staff. Findings based on the teaching staff viewpoint. According to the teaching staff, one of the most important advantage of e-learning is that it fosters students' technological proficiency. All members of the teaching staff concur that e-learning is widely used and that faculty members' access to email and other e-services is its most important application. The teaching staff acknowledges that there are challenges in implementing e-learning, with one of the biggest challenge being the high expense. The teaching staff also acknowledges that e-learning has drawbacks, with the one being that it in comparison to traditional learning, it necessitates financial support. All members of the teaching staff concur that preparing the staff for various technological applications presented difficulties. The teaching staff also acknowledged that the low quality of internet services is the biggest obstacle to the deployment of online education and learning. Conclusion. Online education and learning have a real chance to turn a new leaf and use the opportunity to shift towards a better future as Pakistan moved through the deadliest day of the coronavirus outbreak. To achieve this, it will be necessary to think outside the box and apply creative, proactive, and constructive tactics throughout the entire industry. More generally, the pandemic has been significantly influenced by the online education and learning. Despite the numerous barriers, there are approaches to increase accessibility and cost effectiveness of education and learning. Online education and learning is currently poised to transform the educational landscape in Pakistan and around the globe. However, in order to benefit from progress in this field, a significant change in pedagogy will be required. Recommendations. In the era of the COVID-19 pandemic, when face-to-face teaching and learning were severely lacking in the educational system, this study helps one to develop a practical dread of online teaching techniques and problems. This study offers strategies for faculty members to better incorporate technology into their pedagogical practices and offer and provide them effective replacement for face-to-face instruction. Accordingly to the study finding, pupils did not show much interest in or engagement with coordinated lessons. As a result, it is advised that teachers use interactive communication-based tools and activities to stimulate students' attention and encourage engagement in order to support their e-learning. To provide a suitable working environment, parents and institutional leaders should assist their students. The Higher Education Commission should develop a policy to enable internet access for learning purposes, and the institution should establish an IT support section for teachers and students to provide technical support. Additionally, a suitable channel should be established to oversee how well teachers are doing in achieving the best results. Management authorities should also use well-designed learning management system appropriately for this purpose while assessing remote teaching and learning. To deal with unforeseen occurrences there may arise in online education and learning, a contingency plan should be developed. These are the references. Thank you.
Thank you.
Please, I would like to, I think I'm ready for presentation. And I would appreciate it if I am given the opportunity.
Yes, Doctor, you can proceed.
Yeah?
Dr. Callistus, you can proceed.
Yes. Okay. Good morning, good day, everyone. I am Dr. Callistus Chika Aboki. Head of the Department of Business Administration and Management, Oba, Anambra State, Nigeria. My topic today is on the corporate organizational culture and employee engagement, an empirical study of Southeastern Nigerian firms.
You are not sharing your screen, sir.
Can you hear me now?
We can
Hello,
hear you,
can
but
hear me?
we can't see your screen.
Wow. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir, we can see it.
I guess it's not from my end here. However, I can go ahead to present. Hello?
Hello, sir.
Can I go ahead to present?
Yes, sir, you proceed.
Okay, I am discussing on the corporate organizational culture and employee engagement.
So if you're able to
study of
share your screen, you can share your screen, sir. Kindly share your screen, sir.
Your slide is not showing. We can't see the screen.
Go to the green side of your screen. You will see share screen. You press that green arrow.
Please click on the screen share
didn't get you.
Green, down.
Share the screen. Share the screen on
Share the
green.
green button there. Click on it.
Sir, in your bottom of your system, there is the third tab called Share Screen. So click on that Share Screen right after the chat.
Is it done
Yes,
now?
thank you. Thank you. Yes, sir. You can proceed now.
Yes. Now, so I'm talking on the corporate organizational culture and employee engagement, an empirical study of Southeastern Nigerian firms. Introduction. This study actually focuses on the relationship of corporate organizational culture and employee engagement in selected firms within Southeast Nigeria. Of course, according to Yaviraj 2018, the opinion that organizational progress is usually dependent on the engagement nature of its employees. And as it were, employees' engagement is usually driven by organizational culture. According to Idris et al. 2015, it was asserted that the performance of organizations and reduction in return on investment for shareholders is a function of deficient culture as well as poor cultural integration in organizations. Now, the following are the objectives of this study. The relationship between organizational culture and employee engagement formed the general objective, while the following specific objectives were formulated. One, to determine collaborative organizational culture and the emotional engagement relationship. Secondly, to evaluate hierarchy organizational culture and cognitive engagement possible relationship. In line with these objectives, the research questions and the hypotheses were formed. And that takes us to the second chapter, which talks about the conceptual review. It deals with the definition of those variables, both the dependent and the independent variables. Now, the methodology that was used in this study is research design. And about 500 out of 5,000 employees were used for the research, were used for this research. And the simple random sampling technique was adopted for for the respondent selection. Selected firms located in the Southeast Nigeria were chosen for this research due to their convenience. Hello? Can you hear me? Now, for want of time, the study examined corporate organizational culture and employee engagement in Southeast Nigerian firms, and the following findings were summarized. There is significant relationship between organizational collaborative culture and emotional engagement. And there is a significant relationship between organizational hierarchy culture and cognitive engagement. Although there have been just few researches conducted on organizational culture and employee engagement, no research has ever been conducted on this subject matter in Southeast Nigeria. So this research has actually explored the relationship of corporate organizational culture with employee engagement in Southeastern Nigeria. The used instrument was appropriate, hence it covered existing culture in manufacturing firms, which in turn bring about the needed employee engagement for the organization. In the opinion of Childress 2018, the most competent strategy to sustain productivity, identity, performance, integrity,
profitability, and adopted in the 1990s, by business managers, was corporate organizational culture. Performance and productivity improvement, according to Easton et al. 2015, requires proactive maintenance of effective culture. The study, among others, explored meaningful strategies that could be useful by management teams for organizing an effective organizational culture for performance improvement in the corporate groups. Recommendations: managers should promote policies that encourage collaborate organizational culture, a function of which will attract competent workforce for successful engagement. Secondly, a cognitive employee engagement hierarchy organizational culture, which emphasizes on deep-rooted stability, coherent structure, and shared values across the whole organization, should be encouraged by organizational managers. Thank you. At this juncture, I rest my case. Thank you very much.
So thank you, sir, Dr. Kelton.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. You can stop share your screen, sir. Next, I would like to call upon Mr. Muansaki Samuel from Nigeria under the team of PHW 04T3. So it's over to you, sir. Kindly unmute yourself, sir.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mwansat Satke. Please permit me to share my screen. Okay. Okay, can you hear me now? Hello?
Yes, sir, we can hear you and your screen is visible. You can proceed.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sorry. Okay, my paper is titled Premium Times Release of Pandora's Paper, Problems and Prospects of Investigative Journalism in Nigeria. Okay, introduction. The insatiable nature of man to communicate beyond the interpersonal level led to the development, led to the development of modern means of communication called the mass media. The term mass communication, according to Marquil 2000, is described as a means of communication that operates on a large scale, reaching and involving virtually everyone in the society. The relationship, therefore, between mass media and society was also examined by scholars on the function of the media in the society. For example, Miroshinko 2016, while extrapolating McLuhan's exploration on the contribution of the impact of the media to the society and culture, submitted that communication media extend man's senses and have great capacity to the extent that the structure of the society is fundamentally altered by its existence. Okay, basically, this study, let me just go to the abstract. The practice of investigative journalism in Nigeria is dealing with a number of issues that seriously jeopardizes the advantages that come with this important facet of journalism industry. People rely on the media as watchdogs to expose errors and wrongdoings by those in authority, since they are considered the fourth estate of the realm, which obliges them to monitor and report on actions of government. However, it is required that the media conduct in-depth research while keeping in mind the press corporate responsibility duty to only present truth and truthful news. The Pandora's paper, on the other hand, and the impact of it on this newspaper called the Premium Times, on Nigeria's political elites are two examples of how this study explores, of how this study explores how the paradigm shift of online
and 13 studies of the 17 that were reviewed evaluated information quality of the system. Then lastly, under the technology aspect, we have service quality, which was measured on quick responsiveness, assurance, empathy, and follow-up or technical support. This is the support that is given by the vendor or the service providers towards the users of the system. And 11 studies evaluated 7 service quality. Now, moving on to the human aspect. Under the human aspect, we had 2 dimensions that were evaluated, which is the system use as well as user satisfaction. So now under system use was measured on the level of use, the attitude of the users, expectations, knowledge or expertise of the users, acceptance and resistance and training. And under user satisfaction, it was measured on perceived usefulness and user satisfaction. 9 studies evaluated system use, while 12 studies evaluated user satisfaction. And then under the organization aspect, we have 2 dimensions which were evaluated, which are the organization structure as well as the environment. And under organization structure, this dimension was measured on top management, support, the nature, culture, planning, strategy, communication, leadership, and medical sponsorship. And then for organization environment, it was measured on financing source, government, politics, competition, as well as communication. There were the number of studies that evaluated organization structure were 12, and for organization environment, there were 7 studies which evaluated it. Then for the net benefits, the net benefits were measured on effectiveness of the system, efficiency, direct benefits, and job effects. The net benefits are dependent on the organization and human aspects of the hot feed framework. And the net benefits were evaluated by 5 studies which were included in the study. Now, the discussion. So here I just made a depiction to discuss or to show the impact or the relationship between the aspects of technology and on human organization and the net benefits. So under the system quality, what we found is that system quality impact on user satisfaction, as well as system use and organization environment. So another finding, it was that HIS quality affects the performance of users through perceived usefulness. So user performance is the ability of a user to perform his or her tasks efficiently and effectively. And then moving on to information quality. Information quality was found to have an impact on user satisfaction, system use, as well as organization environment. So what this means is that if the quality of information is high in terms of the information being complete, accurate, available, relevant, consistent, reliable, and compatible, the system will be utilized more frequently, leading to user satisfaction. And the system is perceived useful if it produces the expected results. If users are satisfied with the information quality of a system, user performance will be improved. In addition, the better the quality quality of information, the better improved the organizational structure will be as well. And then service quality. For service quality, we also found that service quality impacted on user satisfaction, system use, as well as organizational environment. So whereas meaning that the higher the quality of service is, it manages to gradually increase user satisfaction and system use. And moving to the human aspect. The human aspect, under here, we evaluated the user satisfaction and system use. So for human aspect, a system, we found that user satisfaction had an impact on system use, as you can see on the diagram. So a system is more useful because users find it satisfying to use it, which improves the quality of hospital staff performance, and the more accurate and superior the technology applied to the humans, the more beneficial a system is. So if a user is satisfied with the overall functioning of a system, the more frequent the system will be utilized. In addition, user satisfaction was also found to have a positive impact on the net benefits of health information system. Then moving on to the dimensions of organization, we have organizational environment as well as organization structure. So organization was found to have an influence on the use of the system as well as the net benefits. Organizational structure was found to have an influence on organization environment, and organization environment has an influence on system use and net benefits. The top management of the healthcare organization would provide support and implement strategies in accordance with organization environment. And in addition to this, the policies and regulations in the healthcare industry has an influence on the development of HISs. So this means that if the policies or regulations which falls under organization environment affects the implementation of health information systems, it will impact on the use of the system also. And furthermore, the organization environment impacts on the net benefits provided that there is effective communication and competition. If there is competition within the industry, this will push the organization to aim to improve its performance by working effectively and efficiently. Then lastly, we have the net benefits. So under the net benefits, it was measured on efficiency, direct benefits, effectiveness, and job effects. Now, under the benefits, the direct benefits and job effects, it was found that the system benefited healthcare professionals by assisting them in performing their daily tasks with ease. So for efficiency and effectiveness, the system assists employees to work more effectively by automating some of the tasks or processes, such as creating charts. So the employees' efficiency and was improved by reducing resource consumption and facilitating information access, recording, and processing using automated tools. In return, this means that this provides the healthcare personnel to spend more time with patients. It was also noted that efficiency and effectiveness on work performance benefited employees who already know how to use the system, while other employees needed more time to learn the system, which then compromised patient care. So it's important to make sure that the training is offered to the users of the system before they can be able to use it, in order to make sure that the patient care and service quality is not compromised. Now, these are some of the recommendations that that were found, that I have for after it, based on the results of the paper. So the following are recommended. A thorough evaluation of the healthcare system and its HISs is required in order to successfully implement or improve health information systems. Secondly, proper planning of the improvement or development of an HIS, giving great attention to the resources that will be needed, including financial resources, benefits, and the need for the HIS is in healthcare. This will ensure that the system is useful, effective, and efficient for its users and achieves its main function. Thirdly, we need security concerns must be addressed, assuring the healthcare organization that the HIS system or innovation is secure, as it will host confidential medical information, will gain the top management support for developing the system. And fourthly, ensure the system is cost effective. In South Africa, the budget allocated for public health sector is constrained. So therefore, it would be wise to implement innovations and systems that are more cost effective. Then second last, we need to establish good communication amongst the users of the system within the healthcare organization across all levels. Lastly, government policies around the storage and accessibility of confidential medical information must be revised and amended to accommodate the implementation of health information systems innovations. In conclusion, continuously evaluating HISs is necessary in order to make sure that the overall goals of the system, such as conducting research, health information management, quality of care, and lower costs are achieved. The hot fit framework serves as a suitable evaluation model for HIS or IS in the healthcare industry. The fit between the human, organization, and technology aspects against the net benefits is important to achieve effective and efficient health information systems. Now, special attention should be given to user satisfaction, meaning that implementation of HISs should be carried out with the thought of benefiting the user it is intended for. Then, in closing, although user satisfaction came out as a strong factor, all dimensions of the hot fit framework should be evaluated for the overall success of the HISs and to ensure that user performance is improved as well. Thank you.